Right here on WDKN. Today is Saturday, December the 3rd, 2022. Now, I am your host, Justin Spurlock, live in downtown Dixon this morning, and it is a little wet outside. It rained a little bit overnight, but things will be drying up, and that's a good thing because today is Christmas in downtown Dixon, and that will be taking place tonight from 5 to 9 p.m. We've got a tree lighting ceremony that will take place there at 5:30 p.m. right there on the corner at the park. Be lighting up a huge Christmas tree, and there will be a lot of other fun things taking place tonight. We got carriage rides, train rides over at the Hotel Museum. We've got Christmas carols. Lots of local shopping will be taking place. There will be a lot of the local shops there will be open a little bit later tonight to accommodate your shopping needs. So I want to encourage you to shop local, and what better time than tonight, because we've got Christmas in downtown Dixon happening this evening right here in downtown. Also, I wanted to let you know, in case you missed it, that the Old Timers Day Committee has voted to return Old Timers Day to the first Saturday in May, which is the traditional date for the festival. This upcoming year's event will take place on May the 6th, 2023, so go ahead and make plans to be with us. The last couple of years, the festival was moved to the fall due to the pandemic, but now Old Timers Day will be moved back to the spring, and again, that will be taking place on May the 6th, 2023. Also got some big news from the Hill, from Dixon County High School this week. It was announced that there will be 4 new members of the Dixon County Educators Hall of Fame. Those 4 former teachers, are Bob Bobian, Cindy Freeman, Charles Keel, and Ed Littleton. And they will be honored at a ceremony that will take place on Saturday, January the 7th. It will be a basketball game between Dixon County High School and Creekwood. And so make sure that you go ahead and make plans to see them. That will be a wonderful day as we induct 4 new members into the Dixon County Educators Hall of Fame. A few other events I want to tell you about real quick as we kick off the show this morning. There will be some other fun Christmas events taking place next week. There will be one in Charlotte and one in White Bluff. Charlotte will have Christmas on the Square next Saturday, December the 10th, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Creekwood High School choir will be there singing Christmas songs. There will be a lot of booths set up, and so you're encouraged to come and walk around the square and see what all the square has in store for you next Saturday, December the 10th. Also happening next Saturday is the White Bluff Christmas Parade. And that'll take place starting at 4:30 p.m. It will be the Electric Christmas Parade, and this will be hosted by the town of White Bluff, also in conjunction with Burns. There will be some entries into the parade from Burns, so that's exciting. This year's Grand Marshal will be Jimmy Orange, who served as Police Department Sergeant for 35 years, also as honorary Grand Marshals. The Creekwood volleyball team, which brought home the state championship title earlier this year, and Jack Martin, who's a senior at Creekwood and a local citizen. He won cross-country state championship earlier this year as well, so he will also serve as an honorary Grand Marshal. This year's theme for the White Bluff Christmas Parade will be a gingerbread Christmas. And again, the parade will start at 4:30. It will begin and end at William James Middle School. There's no charge to be in the parade, but all entries should be lined up no later than 3:45. If you need any info regarding Breakfast with Santa, which will also be taking place that day at the Community Center, you can contact Misty Rogers, City Hall, 615-797-3131, or misty.rogers@townofwhitebluff.com. And again, that will be next Saturday, December the 10th. And then 2 weeks from today, we will also be having Christmas parade here in downtown Dixon, and we'll give you some more of those details as we get a little closer to the event. But go ahead and make plans to be at all of these wonderful Christmas events. Of course, we've got downtown Dixon today, and then White Bluff and Charlotte next week. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here on the Old Timer Show, and I'll be right back here on WDKN. And we're back here on the Old Timer Show, right here on WDKN. My name is Justin Spurlock. I am your host, and as we finish out the year here in December, I wanted to take a look back at a few of the really good interviews that I had a chance to do over the past year. I've been now hosting the Old Timer Show for almost a year, and I've had some really great guests in the studio, and I thought December would be a great time to kind of look back at some of the best ones. And here's a look back at an interview that I did with Coach Shelby earlier this year. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'm really excited that you're in here into the studio with us this morning. So we usually start off on this show by asking the guests just to tell a little bit about their early life, where they're from, maybe where they were born. And I got a friend, Melissa Barker, who is a Houston County archivist and genealogist, and she said, Coach Rye is from Houston County. Get him to talk a little bit about his early life and growing up out there. So tell us a little bit about your early life, Coach.
Well, I grew up on a farm in rural Houston County, about 30 miles north, a little bit west of Dixon. Born in a house where we were all raised. 6 of us, had 3 sisters. I'm 73, and they're 76, 78, and 80. I've lost both brothers, but just a wonderful life. Father born in 1898, mother's 1907. So it's basically yes sir, no sir, thank you, and please. And if an adult's talking, you listen. So I grew up with hogs, cows, loved to hunt, fish, do all the things you do when you're a little boy on a farm, and just wouldn't change a lot. So you grew up in Houston County, and what got you away from there? How did you end up coming this way a little bit? Well, I've thought about that, Justin. I would say maybe the Vietnam War. I could never see myself going to college, although I was involved in sports and enjoyed school, and grades were okay. But I thought I'd be a construction worker and drive a dozer or a tractor or something like that. And but when the Vietnam War got going, basically they said at that time, if you would sign a paper saying that you will go to service as soon as you get out of college, we'll give you 4 years from the day you start to finish. Well, I took them up because that gave me 66 through 70 to get a college degree, and I did that. And I'd say Vietnam motivated me. And then as soon as I got out, 2 months later, I got drafted and went to the Army. So, but I didn't have to go to Vietnam. And a lot of people here in Dixon County and have lost loved ones, and it was a tough situation. And I was fortunate. I had a good tour of duty. So let's go back just a little bit here. Tell me about your high school days. Well, just growing up on a farm, I don't think I've ever thrown a rock or a corn cob or anything just at random. I've always tried to hit a hog with it, or a cow, or a knot on a tree. So throwing and catching was a big part of my life, and I just love sports. And then, so I got involved, a guy that brought the local gas to the farmers named Rusty Simpson. He asked my daddy if I could play baseball on the Erin city team, big boy, so man, I'm going to get to play on the city team. So that was a big deal. And then just from one to another, and just played all through, and went to college and decided I'd try to play basketball and baseball, and played 1 year of basketball. And, that was, I was just a practice dummy. Really, I wasn't good enough to play in college, but, I was good enough to be on a team and make somebody else sweat. So I played there. And then baseball, I got to play for 4 years, so that was a good experience. And just growing up, sports has been a big part of my life, and led me to coaching. And next thing you know, I'm in Cheatham County coaching. Got drafted, go to service for 2 years, come back to Cheatham County for 5 years. And Mr. George Caudill and Noah Daniel came and talked to me about a job in Dixon County, and I moved here very easy day to remember. The day I moved to Dixon was 7/7/77.
Wow.
So that's all sevens, and it came a storm that night. A house in our neighborhood, lightning struck it, caught it on fire. So I've got memories of 7/7/77.
So what was your favorite sport growing up? Was it baseball?
Well, yeah, but probably because you could practice basketball by yourself, and that's not as much fun as playing baseball with a group.
Yeah.
So probably baseball was really.
So how did you become a teacher? What led you to get involved in the education and make that your career? What led you to teaching?
Well, there's probably teachers wherever they are now, gone, that's turned over in their grave a lot of times when they found out Shelby Rye is teaching. He taught 40 years, so that's probably. But when I went to college, I'd never studied. You just get by memorizing and learning things that the teacher says, but by paying attention, and you can make B's and C's and get by. And at that time, you didn't have to make a certain score on the ACT. So when I got in college, things were tough for me for a year, and I had to really bear down. And when I bear down, I just love health, because health you can just go in any direction, and I wanted to coach. So I would say coaching was probably 70%, teaching was 30%, but then when you get to teaching, you start just loving the students so much, you really enjoy the classroom time.
I've got Coach Shelby Rye in here this morning. We've been talking in the first segment about his early life growing up in Houston County and how he made his way over here to Dixon. And 7/7/77 was when you made your way over here to Dixon County. And for those listening that don't know, Dixon County High School was established in 1972. And so by the time you got there, it was about 5 years old. What was it like in those early days of the school?
Well, I would say, just so much pride, and I'm sure the first thing was bringing the 3 junior highs together. But I, as a coach, I never experienced one problem with boys from Charlotte or boys from White Bluff or boys from Dixon. I mean, they work together. It's just a matter of, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And they had tremendous pride in that part of their community, and still do, as evidenced with Creekwood. And congratulations to Creekwood girls making to the state tournament again, and one game away from the state finals. That was a great season to coach.
So tell me, so you get there in 77. What were you hired to teach that first year?
Well, that first year, I taught 5 health classes in the classroom, wore a coat and tie my first 17 years, and I laugh now and I look back. That probably made students and even some faculty members think, he's a little smarter than you think. He got on a coat and tie. They probably didn't see the real country Shelby, but I really enjoyed the classroom. Of course, in health, I'm a great storyteller. I may not have been a great teacher, but I just loved being in the classroom with them.
So you were hired to teach health classes, and tell me, how'd you get into the coaching?
Well, let me rephrase it. I wasn't hired I was hired as a coach first. I was asked, would you be interested in being the boys basketball coach of Dixon County? Yes. So that's what happened. Then, your classroom duties are, we all taught. It wasn't where you go over and you just show up for practice. We had responsibilities, and I remember Mr. George Caudill, he brought in a manila brown folder. It had more information than the FBI could have gotten. And you're supposed to go over all that with the students. Well, I needed somebody to go over it with me, and he went over it word by word, and I thought, man, I don't know what I've done. But everything worked out. It's been a great, great place to live and become an old-timer.
So you coaching boys basketball. How did that go? Did you enjoy basketball? Being a coach of basketball?
Yeah, yeah. It's just sometimes if a team's got 5 better players than you can have all the strategies you want in the world, and they're going to still beat you. Just simple as that, because they're more athletic and get more rebounds, more steals, going to shoot better. But the kids that I had just worked so hard. You hurt with them when they weren't successful, but you knew that these little guys that you had as sophomores, and at that time it was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, you knew they were becoming young men, and they were going to just do wonderful. I see them now, and they're in the 50s, 60s, early 60s, and I'm like, wow, they have done so well.
Do you get a chance to run into a lot of former players and students?
You coach for 35 years of the 40. Yeah, you run into a lot of them.
It's fun to see them.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember you more as a baseball coach, and of course those who get a chance to go to the baseball games up here on the hill here in Dixon may look up at the scoreboard and see it's named Shelby Rye Field. And so you started off as a basketball coach. That's how you were hired, but you ended up becoming a very well-known and very successful baseball coach. How did that transition happen?
Well, there was just going to be an opening, and Mr. Caudill asked me would I be interested in. I loved baseball. I think in reality, looking back, I think a baseball coach can make a little more difference in the outcome of a game maybe than a basketball coach, because, you can play small ball, you can bunt, get a runner over to second and, third, and get a run in sometime in critical situations. And in baseball, when you get a lead and you get late in the innings, it's a lot of pressure on the other team. So, you can do things. Baseball was so fun. I mean, to me, you had to think way ahead. In Dixon County, when I was coaching, they had great coaches in summer leagues. I mean, people that really worked at the game, and good players. First of all, Shelby Rye Field ought to be named, and ought to be a list up there of about 300 or 400 individual players. I didn't score a run, didn't get a hit, didn't win a game. But the players did, and they deserve not some of the credit. They deserve all the credit. Probably my biggest job was to make them behave and get them to the games. Maybe make a move every once in a while, but, you don't want to overcoach, OCWT, overcoaching and wasting time.
That's a good saying. I like that.
Yeah.
And so you said you played basketball and baseball. Did you play anything else growing up?
I played football in high school. The Houston County Erin just started the team, and we weren't very good, and everybody's doing what they thought was best. And I remember I was backup quarterback, and this is my senior year, and it started my junior year, so I didn't play. And then my senior year I played. I was backup quarterback, and I really think we might have won that one game if they hadn't started me at quarterback. If they'd left the regular quarterback in there, we might have won that game. But since they started me, I'd seen Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr, and I said, man, let's throw that thing. So I must have thrown. And we called our own plays. So I just threw it. I bet I threw it 40 or 50 times. That's probably not very smart.
Well, it's been great having you in here this morning. We're almost out of time here. When I announced to everybody on Facebook and at school that I was going to have you on the show, a lot of people were excited. They had good memories they remembered of you. For those of them that are listening, do you have anything to say to them as we close out here, to the former students, former players, and just friends that are out there listening to you this morning? I
would say that if they have one memory of me, that's good, that's wonderful. But I bet you I've got 2, 3, 4, a half a dozen of them, and I could come on here and you could just pick out 2 names and we could talk 30 minutes on any name that I've been around, because they influenced me in a positive way so much, and I thank them all for that. And their smile, the way they conducted themselves, they're just a wonderful person to have coached and known.
We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back here on WDKN. And we're back here on the Old Timers Show, right here on WDKN. Today is Saturday, December the 3rd, and tonight will be Christmas in downtown Dixon, 5 to 9 p.m. Tree lighting ceremony will take place at 5:30 p.m. right there on the corner. So make sure that you make plans to be in downtown Dixon tonight. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview that I did with Coach Shelby Rye earlier this year. As we continue through the month of December, I'm going to play some of my favorite interviews that I did this past year, as I have had such a good time being the host of the Old Timer Show right here on WDKN. As we close out the show, I want to let you know about a few events that are taking place throughout the month. My good friends over at the Dixon Civitan Club wanted me to let you know that they meet on the first and third Monday of each month at 6 p.m. at the YMCA. Meetings are open to anyone wanting to know more about becoming a Civitan. For more information, contact Linda Medley at coconutblue@msn.com. That's coconutblue@msn.com. Also, the Dixon County Historical and Genealogical Society will meet on Monday, December the 12th at 6 p.m. at the Collier House on the Square in Charlotte. This will be the annual business meeting as well as Society Annual Holiday Dinner, which will be provided. The program for the evening is the Dixon County Choir. Because this meeting is the annual election of officers, all members are urged to attend. The Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 950, invites all Vietnam and Vietnam-era veterans to join them on the second Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. in the basement of Pond Church of Christ. There will be a potluck supper. Guests are invited, and there will be a short meeting and close. For more information, you can contact Ray Mayo, 615-585-8993. That's 615-585-8993. Also, the Christopher Strong chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution will meet on the first Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at Colton Steakhouse and Grill. That's located on Highway 46. Meetings are open to the public. For more information, you can contact Carl Garrett at carl.garrett@hcahealthcare.com. The Gideon Carr chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution will meet on Saturday, December the 3rd at 10 a.m. for the annual holiday brunch. This meeting will be held at the Education Building of the First Presbyterian Church, the corner of Mulberry and Merle Streets. Members should bring their favorite holiday brunch dishes to share. For more information, you can contact Gene Hamilton Rogers at jhrogers16@yahoo.com. And the White Bluff Civitan Club will meet on the second Tuesday of each month in the Bibb Civic Center at 6 p.m. New members are welcome. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the Old Timer Show. We'll be back. I'll be back at 8 o'clock with another episode of Know Your County. Stay tuned for Mr. Dale Reagan. Weekends on the Highland Rim is up next. You are listening